This is a Springfield regular City Council meeting. The time now is 7:02 p.m. and the date is May 2nd, 2022. At this time, Madam Clerk, can you please take the roll for us?
Councilor Perez.
Present.
Present. Councilor Letterman.
Present.
Present. Councilor Curran.
Present.
Present. Councilor Walsh.
Sorry, Nora is muted. Present.
Present. Councilor Brown.
Present.
Present. Councilor Davila. Absent. Councilor Hurst. Absent. Councilor Edwards.
Present.
Present. Councilor Allen.
Present.
Present. Councilor Govan.
Present.
Present. Councilor Fenton.
Present.
Present. Councilor Whitfield.
Here.
Present. Councilor Williams.
Present. And Madam Clerk, can you also recognize Councilor Hurst, please?
Councilor Hurst.
Present.
Present.
All right, thank you, councilors. At this time, will councilors and guests please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. And with that, we can get started. If councilors have any reports of committee this evening. And I will ask, are there Councilor Fenton?
Thank you, Mr. President. The General Government Committee met earlier today. In attendance were Councilors Govan, Whitfield, Hurst, Edwards, and I believe that's all. If I'm missing anybody, I apologize. On the agenda were two items. The first is the appointment of Maria D'Angelo Antonio, a longtime city employee and resident of the city, to the License Commission. The committee voted 2-0 to make a positive recommendation on that appointment. And the second item was a pawn shop and junk dealers moratorium extension proposal that I put forth at our last meeting, which was sent to committee for further review and additional details. During the meeting, we got some good questions from Councilor Hurst, which I've passed along to the Springfield Police Department. I think they're about half addressed, but the other half remain outstanding. And so we're going to keep that matter in committee tonight. The ordinance doesn't need to be extended until June 30th is our deadline. So my hope is that by the next meeting, we get those details and present back to the full board. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilor Fenton, for your report. Councilor Govan, followed by Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the Mental Health Subcommittee met on April 7th. We had Councilors Walsh, Davila, and Allen in attendance, as well as representatives from different mental health agencies and community folk. We have some child and mental health advocates, as well as a senior advocate. We had minutes and I sent them out. We're scheduled to meet again on May 5th, which is Thursday at 6 p.m. And all are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Govan, especially as we recognize Mental Health Awareness Month as well for the work you're doing. Councilor Edwards.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. On Wednesday, April 13th, the Planning and Economic Development Committee met. There were 3 agenda items on that meeting. We were in attendance was Amanda Pham, Director of the Springfield Redevelopment Authority, as well as Jeff Frazier, I believe, is a member of their staff. Tim Sheehan, head of the Department of Economic Development, Donald Mitchell, and architect Steve Jablonski, and construction advocate Greg Ellerby. The first item that was discussed was regarding the amendments relates to the downtown urban renewal plan. That presentation was made by Amanda Pham, and it is related to making current and expanding some of the requirements or conditions of the original urban plan that was established for the downtown area around the casino. We are scheduling a second meeting coming up in I believe in the mid-May. And at that time, she will have Amanda Pham and a final report for the committee of the whole to consider. On the second item that was discussed was by Donald Mitchell. Donald Mitchell is a local developer, and he is proposing to develop the former Kavanaugh's building on State Street. Many of you near Commerce High School across from the state campus. His intention is to have a mixed use, which would include, I believe, 3 vendors for commercial use. There will also be 25, I believe it's 25 units of affordable housing that will be contracted out to Mental Health Association. And 90% of the space has already been taken. And it's approximately 1,000 square feet. At this point, it's not committed. He will be coming before the council seeking special permitting and starting the process of putting that project to move it forward. So there will be further discussions in the future on that as well. And the final item, Greg Ellaby, who advocates for minority participation in the construction trades, came in and asked some questions that we were able to direct him. And I've arranged to have a meeting. I believe he either had one Friday or is scheduled to have one this upcoming Friday with Lisa, not Lisa D'Souza, Jerry McCaffrey, the head of the housing department in the city of Springfield. And that's my reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Edwards, for those reports. Madam Clerk, before we get to Councilor Hurst, can you please recognize Councilor Davila?
Counselor Davila?
Present.
Present.
Thank you, Councilor Hurst.
Thank you, Mr. President. The audit committee met on April 11th, and we were joined by Councilors Whitfield, Walsh, Govan, and Allen. At that meeting, one of the issues that we did go over was Councilor Fenton. I know you had a question regarding complaints to the fraud hotline. Thus far, as it relates to last fiscal year, it's been fairly slow. There were 9 allegations of fraud, 8 of which have been closed out with no further action, and then 1 that is still being looked into. The other issue that we discussed in the audit subcommittee meeting was that there was a discussion with the Office of Internal Audit reviewing the city's health insurance benefits program. The auditor found that the benefits department did not fully reconcile the information contained in the group insurance commission invoices to the information contained in the city's accounting system, munis and retirement data sources. Another finding was that there were numerous data discrepancies between GIC invoices and the various systems of record, such as employee enrollment information, social security numbers and names. The administration and recording of the employee and retiree information in the various databases needed improvement. And so they've issued some recommendations. The benefits department director was appraised of the findings and is now actively working to resolve those issues. And then finally, we discussed the annual audit plan for 2023, which is on the agenda for this evening. That is all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Hurst, for those reports as well. Are there any other reports of committee this evening? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll to accept?
On accepting the reports of committee, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the reports have been accepted. Madam Clerk, the first item before us.
The first item is the March revenue versus expenditure report.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. President. Patrick Burns, 90 Clement Street, Springfield. Tonight you have the March revenue versus expenditure report. This represents the 3/4 point of the fiscal year. So far this year, we have collected $591 million in revenue, or 76% of the revenue budget. We have expended $568 million, or 73% of the expenditure budget. I just wanted to point out that as we had been discussing for the last several months, that there would be some shortfalls within the gasoline budget. There are 2 orders on the agenda this evening, one for the fire department and one for code enforcement, where these shortfalls are going to be addressed within the departmental budgets. Be happy to take any questions on the report.
All right, thank you, Pat, for that. Are there any questions at this time? Counselor Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. Pat, I'm just wondering, I asked you a question about the fourth quarter at the Finance Committee meeting relative to were there any big things coming in the fourth quarter? I think it'd probably be helpful if you just explained your answer that you gave at the Finance Committee meeting.
Sure. Several orders on the agenda this evening, which are utilizing free cash. They're orders totaling $1,002,000. The current free cash total as of tonight is $16,131,931. If these orders are approved tonight, this will bring the balance down to $15,129,000. And really the big order is the $700,000 that is going to be needed to fund the enterprise fund for an increase in the tipping fee. And the DPW director, Chris Signoli, is here this evening, and he can give the rationale and the reasoning behind that.
We can reserve that if the council sees fits for the actual item, Pat. But yeah, Tim, Counselor Allen, did you have any other questions outside of that?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Pat. Are there any other questions at this time?
I make a motion to accept it.
All right, a motion has been made. Actually, a motion is not needed, Counselor Whitfield, so I'll just move at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just move to have a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please.
On approving, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the report has been accepted. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
The next item is the Law Department March expenditure report.
Pat, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hopefully my light will stay on for this report. The total expenses for the month of March are $300,233.10. The year-to-date expenses from the excessive force misconduct appropriation is $891,921.65. This leaves a balance of $4,108,078.35. And Attorney D'Souza has joined us tonight. If you have any specific questions on the March expenditures.
Right, thank you, Pat. Are there any questions at this time for Attorney D'Souza or Pat? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll to accept?
On accepting, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the report has been accepted. The next item, please.
The next item is the appointment of Maria D'Angelo Antonio to the License Commission.
All right, is there anyone present to speak to this? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Are we joined by Maria this evening?
Yes, present. Maria
Oh.
D'Angelo. You had me muted. Yes, this is Maria D'Angelo Antonio. I reside at 130 Hartwick Street in Springfield.
Appreciate it. Feel free to just provide the council with a little bit of information about yourself.
Yeah,
Interested, yeah.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I was approached to become a board member of the Springfield License Commission. I am a lifelong resident of Springfield. I born and raised here, educated in the city of Springfield, a 1980 graduate of the High School of Commerce, along with Counselor Govan. We were classmates together. I am a 40-year employee of the Springfield Public Schools. I was a senior administrator of transportation during my last 10 years, 2010 to 2020, have since retired. And I'm currently a realtor for Landmark Realty here in East Long Meadow.
All right, thank you for that, Maria. And High School of Commerce all the way. I will say
Yes.
record.
Red Raiders.
That's right. That's right.
Red Raiders.
Yes. Councilor Letterman, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks so much, Mr. President. I just wanted to speak in support of Mrs. D'Angelo Antonio's nomination. I wasn't able to attend the confirmation meeting that Councilor Fenton was able to hold, but certainly had the chance to work with Maria in her previous position. And I would suggest to my colleagues that her previous position was not that much unlike the position that she's before us for this evening. She certainly, in those capacities, had to consider what individuals were bringing before her with the decisions that were made, and balance that with both the needs of the parents and children that came before her with what we were able to do within the confines of our rules and regulations at the school department. So I'm confident that she'll be able to do the same on the License Commission. And Maria, it's good to see you again. Thanks for taking all those calls from me in your previous position.
You're welcome. Thank you, Counselor Letterman. I really appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman. Councilor Walsh, followed by Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, Maria, and nice to see you again. And I know you helped resolve some sticky issues on transportation. I'm just curious, what is the makeup of the board now? How many women are on it? Do you know?
I do not.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not, unfortunately, I'm not aware of whose position that I'm taking. I did see the names, but unfortunately, I don't recall. I'm not familiar with how many women sit on this board.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. That I'm very happy that you are a female appointment to this board, and I know you'll do an excellent job, and I'm very happy to support you.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Maria. Good to see you. First, I have to say that it gives me great pleasure to see you, Maria. Maria is one of my constituents here in Ward 6 in Forest Park. So I'm glad to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
And so you answered my question. I was going to ask you, who are you replacing? But I think you say you're not sure.
I am unsure of that.
Okay, very well. And Councilor Walsh, if I may, I do believe with Maria's appointment, she will be the second female commissioner, if I'm not mistaken. I think the chairman is a female. So, but no, I am, Mr. President, I also rise to support Maria. I have known Maria through many years. She's always been an outstanding, good-hearted person. And I know she cares deeply about Springfield, and she will be just a wonderful asset and a good positive asset for the License Commission. So Maria will be more than glad to support your nomination.
Thank you, Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. Yeah, I dealt with Maria in her previous role in the school department, and she did a great job. She's very competent in a complex area with a lot of public input, et cetera, dealing with the public. So I endorse her for this position tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Allen.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Counselor Allen. Are there any other comments or questions at this time? Right, seeing none, at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve Maria to the License Commission.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion made by Counselor Govan, seconded by, I'm sorry, I did not get that, but I will say Counselor Edwards. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll to approve Maria to the License Commission?
On approving the appointment, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, congratulations on your appointment and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
All right, thank you, counselors. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
The next item is a Rule 20 report for the pension obligation bonds.
All right, Pat.
Thank you, Mr. President. It might make sense to discuss this report during item number 14 and approve or disapprove it at that point. That is the vote on the pension obligation bonds.
Pat, I think what I want to do is just, I guess the intention of putting this in informational was just to accept the report. Just as a typical kind of standard thing that we do for any report.
Motion to accept the report, Mr. President.
I'm sorry, Counselor Hurst.
I said motion to accept the report.
Okay, there's a motion on the,
Second.
we don't need a motion for this, for the report, but with that being said, if there are no questions from the council at this time, I will move to accept the report. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
On accepting the report, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the report has been accepted. Councilors, with no objection, we can take these petitions together as we did at the last meeting. So, Madam Clerk, can you please call items 5 through 8?
Items 5 through 8 are Eversource Gas for Grosvenor Street and Alvin Street, and then Eversource for Wayne Street and Claremont Street.
All right, thank you. If there's anyone present to speak to these petitions, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. Chris Signoli, DPW Director. The first two items, as was stated, are Eversource Gas. The first one is for an upgrade of service, 2-inch line on Grosvenor Street, 770 feet, 2-inch line on Chestnut Street, 1,200 feet, and a 4-inch service on Carew Street to connect both of those together. On Alvin Street, it is 1,500 feet of a 6-inch pipe and 300 feet or so of a 6-inch pipe to upgrade the service for those. With regard to the Eversource Electric, Wayne Street is a guy wire is currently attached to an existing tree, which is being removed. So a new pole needs to go in to act as a guy wire. And on Claremont Street, it is a new pole to remove an existing pole that's currently between two adjacent driveways to make access in and out of the properties much easier. So 2 new poles and new gas service on different streets within the city.
Great, thank you, Chris. Are there any questions from the council on these petitions? Council Letterman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Chris, on the new pole for Wayne Street,
Yes,
where exactly is that going to be in the public way? Is it on the tree belt? Is it on a
yeah,
property?
it's in the tree belt. Just want to make sure here. It is about 50 feet in off of Allen Street. And there is an existing tree that's there that needs to be taken down. There's a guy wire that's into the tree that is used to support a pole across the street. So this will be a new pole in the public right of way in the tree belt, so that the tree can be removed and the new guy wire can be attached to the new pole.
Has the abutter been notified?
Yes, because they have a Board of Public Works hearing was held on March 11th.
Okay.
On site.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and actually, I think the pole will be more attractive than the dead tree that's there. And it's also it's actually off center from their house. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to show up on someone's front lawn without telling them.
No.
I'm good to go, Mr. President. Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman. Are there any other questions at this time in the petitions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll to accept the petitions 5 through 8?
On approving the petitions, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the petitions have been accepted. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
The next item is a Mass Heal grant, no match required, in the amount of $650,000.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Ellen Carlton Harris, Commissioner, Division of Health and Human Service, 47 Overlook Drive, Springfield, Massachusetts. This grant, the Department of Health and Human Services is the fiscal conduit for this grant. Tuesday, April 26, we held the first meeting of this grant at the Carriage House in Forest Park. I want to thank Councilor Letterman for coming to that meeting. We had over 40 individuals there and 16 agencies. So Massachusetts is among the 10 US cities with the highest opioid rates in the country as far as overdoses and deaths are concerned. And so the National Institutes for Health issued an RFP. BMC, Boston Medical Center, applied for the grant and identified 20 cities and towns around Massachusetts in 2 waves who are receiving the grant. This is a research grant. And so the goal of it is to increase Narcan distribution and overdose prevention education, increase access to medication for opioid use disorder, and improving opioid prescribing safety. Some other parts of the grant we will do is to identify local needs, select and implement a range of evidence-based strategies, accelerate access to medication, hospitalization, and to communicate with our partners. Again, the city is the fiscal conduit. We will be subcontracting out with our partner agencies across the city of Springfield.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that. Councilor Letterman, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just simply wanted to thank the commissioner and her staff member, Jose, for the invitation to the meeting earlier in the month or at the end of last month. And I was very impressed with the coalition that was in the room there. As folks know, this is an area of desperate need in our community, and there are great people in the city doing this very much needed and very hard work, but they certainly are in need of resources. And I think that the information that'll be made available through this grant, as well as some of the more recently announced initiatives by the health department with the settlement funds that have come from suing the producers, of the manufacturers of opioids across the country are going to go a long way here in our community. So thank you, Commissioner, and appreciate the council's involvement going forward.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman. Are there any other questions or comments at this time? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion now to approve the grant.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Allen,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Whitfield. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll to accept the grant?
On accepting the grant, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the grant has been accepted. Madam Clerk, thank you, Commissioner. With no objection, councilors, we'll take items number 10 and 11 together. So Madam Clerk, can you please call those?
Item number 10 is for an fiscal year 22 automated external defibrillator equipment program grant in the amount of $2,500, no match required. Item number 11 is an elder's donation in the amount of $200.
Can you please call the roll?
Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the grants have been accepted. Item number 12, please.
Item number 12 is the pawnbroker moratorium.
Councilor Fenton, would you like to motion to this to committee?
Yeah, if I can, I'd like to keep it in committee, maybe even without a motion. I don't think the right amount of time has passed, so I don't think we even need to vote on it. That's okay.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Fenton. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
The next item is item number 13, an order authorizing expenditure of FY22 supplemental budget winter road recovery assistance program funds in the amount of $1,481,760.
All right, if there's anyone present to speak to this, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. Chris Signoli, 89 Bennington Street, Springfield. As part of the governor's supplemental budget for current fiscal year 22, $100 million statewide was set aside for what they're calling winter road repair. And really what it is, it's money almost exactly similar to receiving additional Chapter 90 money. The city is receiving $1.481 million. In your packet this evening, we have a bid project, our paving bid going out this year for about $5.5 million. And we have a section in there of 1.3 million for use of this money. So we will be going out to bid in the next week or so for roadway work. The next item on the agenda that I'll be discussing is item 15 is Chapter 90. But in councilor's packet, there is a listing for the streets that we will be doing as part of the the 1.3 million receiving on winter roadway funds, money that we had available for bonding from late last year, and money that we have for $2.8 million for Chapter 90 funds. We will be doing a total of about 9 miles worth of roadways, 44 streets in the city. So this is additional money that the state is providing us.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any questions at this time from the council? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the order.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, can I hear that again?
Second.
All right. Who made the initial motion?
Counselor Allen.
All right, motion made by Counselor Allen, properly seconded by Counselor Perez. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll on the order?
Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the order is approved. At this time, I will entertain a motion to suspend Rule 19.
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Allen,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Whitfield. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, counselors. The next item, please, Madam Clerk.
The next item is item number 14, which is the bond authorization for pension obligation bond in the amount of $755 million.
Please state your name and address for the record.
TJ Plant, Capo, 42 Garfield Street, Springfield. Council, this is bringing back after the Rule 20 was invoked at the last meeting on the authorization of the pension bonds. We're just looking to get the authorization to continue to look at whether pension obligation bonds is an option. The Fed Reserve is meeting tomorrow to potentially raise interest rates as much as 50 basis points. As I mentioned before, it's a race against the clock in terms of the timing of trying to pull this off. The key part is if we sell up to $755 the funding will go directly into the retirement system that is run by the state, known as PRIT, the Pension Investment Trust. That the state has the professionals that run it and make all the decisions on all the investments. So it would be immediately go to the system and have us closer to 100% funded if we were to do this. I don't know if it makes sense for Comptroller Burns to present his Rule 20 report to the council, just talking about kind of the different options and scenarios. And I'll take any questions you may have.
Yeah, I'll defer to the council if they'd like to hear on that report. But Counselor Whitfield, I'll start with you.
Sure, I think it's important for folks of the public to hear the report that we were presented. And then I have some questions and comments.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Whitfield. Pat, could you please provide a synopsis on that?
Thank you, Mr. President. Prepared a Rule 20 report in response to a request by Councilor Hurst. The report illustrates 6 likely scenarios for the debt service associated with issuing up to $755 million in pension obligation bonds. They're actually based on $753 million, and they're varying terms and interest rates. And if there's any questions on the specific report itself and the exhibits, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Counselor Whitfield?
So on the report, Pat, can you tell the council what the liability is if we go into a recession and the market doesn't do as well as projected?
So it goes under the projections that you all have run.
Yes, if you take the first scenario, the principal amount in all the scenarios isn't going to change. It's $753 million, but with a term going out to 2037 and an estimated interest rate on the debt, our payback in interest would be $308,689,725. So the total of the principal and the interest in this scenario would be $1,061,689,725. So the strategy of us putting this money into the pension system would be that we would pay the interest rate and that the rate of return would exceed that by 2.5%, at which time our yearly payment for the UAL would go down substantially and result in a savings. If we don't achieve that interest rate, then we would have a scenario where we would both have the debt service payment and an increasing unfunded liability. And that's the worst case scenario. And that's what we're trying to avoid. And that's what we've been meeting on. And what the consensus is that we're going to walk away if we don't think the interest rate is going to be favorable to the point where we're that 2.5% above.
Thank you. Another question that I have is, earlier I asked if there was any other considerations, like maybe this is a TJ question, maybe funding it at half of the 755, any other type of scenarios like that we could look at?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'll defer to TJ.
You're doing well. Go ahead.
Okay, Pat.
Yes, that is something we've been discussing as a group, that we would not go up, maybe do $300 million or $200 million to inject funding into the system at this time. That's been part of the discussion, and that's certainly an option. That's why we've put this order in front of the council up to $755 million. It doesn't mean that we're going to do the entire amount. So that is one of our options that we've seriously looked at as a working group.
Because if you seriously looked at it, I don't understand why it wasn't presented to us so we could have more of an informed decision. Like, we got all these scenarios with the 755,000, but we didn't get anything below that. We extended the time, but we didn't get anything lower than that. So, I was just wondering that. And then my third question for now, and I'll let some of the other councilors speak because I got so much more, is how much are we currently paying in bonds?
I mean, for the capital bonds that we've issued, the tax exempt
Yes.
bonds,
Mm-hmm.
you have that number?
I do. Give me 1 second and I'll pull it up. 20.
Yeah.
So for FY23, our annual debt payment is $27.5 million.
So 27.5 million in addition to after year one of the 16 million that we're gonna pay. So what's FY23? Is it still 27 or did any of the bonds drop off?
That is FY23. It
Oh, that's
actually brought up
FY23.
because of the issuance we just did in March.
Okay, so FY24?
That's FY23.
Now, do you have FY24?
Oh, yeah, I'll have to do some math to get that one for you.
Is it a little lower or is it around the same?
Around the same, roughly, just because we just issued $60 million worth of debt, or sold 60 million worth of debt that's now on our debt schedule.
Okay, so on top of the 55 million, we also are obligated to pay those bonds unless we sell them.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
So if we go into a recession, we're gonna have this debt regardless. Is that correct?
Yes.
We're gonna have to pay it regardless, depending on the years. We're
Correct.
gonna have to pay it. And so this is another debt that we have to pay. We also have to pay the pension obligation. So I don't want folks to sit on here and think that if we don't fund this, people's pensions aren't going to get paid, because that's also a mandate, correct?
Correct, yeah.
We have to pay these things.
Absolutely.
So-
We're going to make a payment to the pension fund no matter what. It's just
No
a
matter
matter of whether this is an option or not.
Right, whether this is an option or not, we have to pay that. So people who is on retirement pension will get paid. This is not gonna stop it. What it is we have the worst funded pension in the state. And so to me, this was a scurry to change that scenario. And it's still, to me, not the only option. We just got 42 million in from Eversource. We could put some more in the pension from that. We have some free cash that we could put a sizable amount of money in the pension from that. That savings that they're talking about that's going into account in case the market doesn't do well, we're only paying the interest payment the first year, and then the principal is going to be tacked on to the back, so it still has to be paid. So it might be a savings up front, but it's not a savings on the back end. So we need to understand that. We need to understand that if we go into a recession and these bonds have to be paid and we go into a recession and folks got to be laid off, think about who the individuals who are going to be laid off. Think about them. Think about not even getting information from them, not bringing this to the community, because it is their money that we're gambling with. Yet this information hasn't went out to the community to even hear their feedback on it. There's other scenarios there's other funding that we could use to reduce the pension obligation. And I don't think that we did a great job looking at all the scenarios that we could have since January. And I also think it's another rush situation. And like I keep saying, although Counselor Allen was on the committee, we could have been having finance committee meetings or having the information on a bi-weekly basis. He could have reported it to us. Something could have happened where we don't have to rush before tomorrow. So those are my points, and I'll yield.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Walsh, followed by Councilor Perez.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to say that in the Finance Committee, Pat Burns gave us an awful lot of information that I think was helpful regarding this vote. But there are a couple of things that I took away from that meeting, Pat, that I think might be meaningful for you to share. And one of them is the investment, the PRIT fund, which is something that it's mandatory for us, correct? And might explain some of the investment philosophy. Is that correct?
Yes, when the control board was in Springfield, the decision was made that the city would be fully invested in the PRIT fund and that the board would no longer invest the funds. This was also a factor due to our low funding level. So this was a safeguard that the control board put in place so that our funds are fully invested with the state in their core fund, and they do the investment on our behalf.
And this vote tonight, it's a step, right, in a series of incidents that will lead to the final decision.
Yes, this is one of the steps that the committee has on their list. This is a vital step to have the city council authorize the debt. And really the next large step in the process is meeting with the Secretary of Administrative and Finance for the state of Massachusetts. And they will ultimately make the decision if we can move forward. And they have several stipulations that we have to meet. And this is number one on the list, is that we have the council approval. So that's what we're doing tonight. And we want to move on to the next steps immediately, just as TJ mentioned, because we're running up against another bump in the interest rate in June. So we want to, the rates that we received from our financial advisor are already part of what we've been projecting, but in June, we're afraid they're going to go up again and it'll be unattainable at this time.
Yeah, and I did ask you in that Finance Committee meeting what you would say to the retirees. So I think it's important for you to mention that commitment. I know you sit on the Springfield Retirement Board, double duty.
Yes, we're committed by Chapter 32 and by the state oversight, PARAC. to fund our system by 2040, and that's what the city is doing. And we actually have an aggressive schedule to 2033 right now. So that mandate isn't going away. So these payments will be made and they have to be made. And as a member of the retirement board, wearing that hat, I will make sure that they're paid and become part of the budget. That's something that I was sworn to do as the ex officio member.
Yeah, well, I know you always keep your word. Thank you for all that information.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Councilor Perez.
So my first question is, the vote that we are voting tonight is just to authorize the process? And then we are getting feedback, or because it's confusing, or we voting on the $755 million? According to the information was to allow the process, correct?
So the vote is to authorize up to $755 million as we work with the internal team that has been meeting weekly on this to determine whether or not it makes sense for the city to move forward.
Okay. My second part, what will be the worst scenario if we decided not to award this vote tonight?
And right now, the worst case scenario is just not an option of us to fully fund or get closer to fully funding our pension obligation. So this will allow us to position ourselves to potentially sell up to the 755 to address our 35% funded pension system.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Perez. Councilor Govan, followed by Councilor Hurst.
Councilor Perez asked my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Hurst.
Thank you, Mr. President. TJ, why can't we approve less tonight? And if you feel as though you need to invest more based off of, you know, the timing, the interest rates, and the scenarios, then you just come back to us for that additional amount.
Well, it's a good question. I'd have to check with like the timing wise in terms of what that would do to stretch. Like, so I guess if I'm hearing you correct, you say it's 300 million, 350, whatever the number is. And then we go and run those scenarios. And if 750 looks good, we come back. Is that accurate?
Yeah, because I mean, my biggest issue here is that one, it's a large amount of money. Two, you all don't even know the scenarios. You don't even know, you know, what the interest rates are going to be. You know, and it just seems to me that we don't know what it is that we're approving for you to spend. And so I don't know how folks in good conscience could just give you all the authority to go out and spend $755 million. Like, to me, that's just an awful lot of money. And I think if you couple it with the fact that, you know, I don't think too many people in the public know exactly what's going on, which I think is extremely problematic. You know, I think we ought to be as transparent as possible to the extent we can. It also seems extremely rushed, like my colleague, Councilor Whitfield, highlighted earlier. You know, it seems to me like we ought to have had more committee meetings. And when we look at Pat Burns' report, like there are 6 different scenarios, and we don't know which scenario folks are ultimately going to go with. And so when we approve 755 million, we just sort of have to trust you all to do the right thing. And, you know, personally speaking, I don't think the track record is there. And when I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, they pointed out to me what I've always struggled with, and that a lot of this revolves around trusting the administration to do the right thing. And I just feel like time and time again, we've been burned. You know, even when I look at the $123 million in ARPA funding, you know, from my perspective, and I'm sure you might not agree, I don't think we've done the right thing with that money. And I know there are some other cities and towns that didn't approve the entire allotment, right? They made the administration come to them with each time they were going to spend money on something. And, so unfortunately, we didn't get that option and we approved everything. For me, it's just a bit frustrating. And then, what I said last time still remains the same. We had a ton of meetings around the spending of the ARPA money, and we've had very few around not just this, but other money that we've spent. And I just, for me, it's just not, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right. And, all of that precipitated Councilor Walsh, to come up with her resolve. And, it's almost like we scream, we yell about it as a council. And then when the same thing happens to us again, we just take it because it's more urgent, it's more important. For me, what is important is that the residents know what is going on and that we have a solid understanding. And I knew based off of the questions that I was asking today that I still don't have a good grasp of what exactly it is that we're doing. And I just think we have an obligation to make sure we understand and to make sure our residents understand, especially as it relates to this type of money. So with that said, it would be nice if we could approve less. I'm not saying that I would be in favor of it, but I certainly would be much more willing to entertain that scenario than what it is that we have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hurst. Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. TJ, good evening. I believe you say that the feds are meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, they have their May meeting tomorrow and Thursday, tomorrow and Wednesday.
No, I think in the last meeting that we had on some of the meetings we had in the past, that we fully expect them to raise the rates tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, about 50 basis points or half a percentage point for the May.
So if we approve this today, are we gonna, what rate are we gonna be getting? Today's rate or tomorrow's rate?
Well, so the numbers that we've been looking at have known that this was coming, so they've actually factored in, the investors have factored into the rates that currently exist. And so in order to really know the rate that we can sell at, it's got to know like how much risk the investors want to take and how much they're willing and what they're going to want in an interest rate. So there are going to be some investors that are going to want 5-year, 10-year. There's going to be some investors that want the longer. And that's what our syndicate, our underwriters are helping us do. But if the rate gets to anything really, if it's above 4.5, I mean, I don't see the math working out no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we just got to keep plugging away. And then, tomorrow it may be game, set, match tomorrow anyway, because the rate's going up half a point. If it gets up around 5 and we need a 2.5 point spread, there's no way A&F's going to approve at 7.5 return on investment.
Right. Okay. Well, TJ, I said the same thing that I said at the last meeting. We cannot continue to kick this can down the road. I agree that it is a lot of money. I'm still pretty jittery about this, but I see this as an opportunity. And we just cannot continue to kick this can down the road. TJ, I do believe that you have said in the past that if anybody was going to lose their job on this, would be you. Right. And so to me, TJ, and I ask you that question myself, TJ. Why should I trust you with $755 million? And TJ, I realize you've been here in the city for a long time. We may not always agree, but I have no doubt, my good sir, that you have nothing but the best interest of the city at heart. We probably will disagree tomorrow again on something, but right now I'm clicking with you. Jittery though that might be, but I'm agreeing with you. And so ultimately for me, you are the financial expert, not me. And so I still remain, will still continue to support this. And Those are my words. And thank you, TJ, and to your whole team. And thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila, Councilor Brown, followed by Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. TJ, it seems, I come from a marketing background. It seems when it comes, it's just basic forecasting. From what I know, it would kind of like be like saying rates change. They always change. I've never known anyone to ever be able to pick an exact rate. It's impossible, isn't it? TJ?
Right, so the concept here is that if we say we sell at 4.25, and we take that 700 million, we put it in the system, and over the life of the investment, we get a return on investment greater than 4.25.
Yes, and you're just still using historical data that's from the past, correct?
No, we're using up-to-date actuarial analysis from our actuary that we hired to help us forecast these things.
Okay, but so this still, as far as forecasting it, it's still just a basic rate. It's gonna you can never. It's like saying
No,
that.
it's our best thinking at the time and
Yeah.
historical. What the market has done historically over the last 20 years.
Yeah, so it's kind of like me saying, what is the housing market going to be like? It'd be impossible to give that actual figure. You can just basically do the best that you can. So I do understand what you're saying, and it just seems like it's just basic basic stuff. I don't see what's not to understand. Is it something that I'm missing, TJ?
No, it's basic economics, sell low, invest high, and get a return on investment. And then beyond that, to mitigate the risk, we will be setting up a stabilization fund to address any risk that may come out of this. And that's a big part of what A&F is going to ask us about, is how do you intend on managing through a recession or through a tough economy. We have forecasted all of that in a couple of models that we've seen. We forecasted the Great Recession that happened in 2008. And so we're looking at all those things, trying to, hedge our bets in that sense of, making sure that we sell at a reasonable rate.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. You're doing a good job, TJ. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown, Councilor Whitfield, followed by Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. TJ, so the rates are going to change tomorrow. So if we approve this today, we get today's rate. I'm not understanding it. If the rates are going to go up regardless tomorrow, why do we have to approve this right now?
Well, just so we can beat the June meeting is what we're really wanting.
We're trying to beat the June meeting. So, because I keep hearing tomorrow is the push. So we got time before the June meeting to really have more conversation about this.
After you authorize, if the council authorizes it, I have a 21-day waiting period before we can do anything. And that's really what's causing the delay in our schedule. It's called a referendum period. I got to wait 21 days before even entering the market. Even if I ever wanted to sell, I'd have to wait those 21 days.
But even if we waited 5 days and had another meeting, we would still beat the June meeting.
I guess I'd have to look at the calendar because I still need to read.
Well, I'm just looking at the date and doing the math,
Yeah, no, but
I'm a financial person. We know numbers. I'm just going by what you say for 21 days, backing it out and getting some numbers in here. So I want to just comment on a couple of things that was said. Pat Burns is a stand-up guy. I worked with Pat. I trust Pat. I trust him on the retirement board. But let's make it clear what he said, regardless of what happens in the market, regardless if there's a recession, this pension obligation is going to be paid. So it might be a pension obligation, or the bond obligation is going to get paid. The pension obligation is going to get paid. We have to. Another thing that I heard was, oh, we got to put this schedule in place. We put a schedule in place when the schedule that's in place right now, the aggressive schedule at the 9.5% increase over the years was put in place. We were told this was a great program. to fund. We're working hard to get our pension obligations. We now reached 30%. We did a wonderful job. We planned this out. We forecasted it. It was great. Now it's like, oh, 9.5% is so high. You know, it is high. It is high, but this is not low. This is not a chunk of change. Even with the reserve account, this is not a little bit of money to be gambling with. Now, the difference between the schedule that you guys put in before that you said was great and fantastic, and we're going to get to it by 2033, is we can make changes to that if we come into a recession. With this one, there's no changes. I don't care if the market tanks, if we go into a recession. Now, Councilor Brown said something very important. Are you using historical data? You said, no, we're using current data with the system that these investors are using is current. But if you look at the historical trends, year over year, and TJ, you have said this so many times, it looks like we're heading into a recession. It looks like we're heading into a recession. We're at a high point right now, but it looks like we're heading into a recession. And if you look time after time after time after time after time in the United States, we got to this point, the economy's doing great, everything's booming, job market is great, and we go into a recession. Soon as the Federal Reserve's amount start increasing, we go into a recession. This has been the historical trends. And so me having a financial background, I look at historical trends. I look at what the market has done. I know what a GPA account is, general principal account, where you can put money and you can get a certain interest rate regardless. And yes, we are stuck with the PRIC system because we mismanaged funds before. Financial Control Board said, okay, now we can only use this. But I worked in West Springfield just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. They don't use this system. They don't use the state system because the state system hasn't historically given them the best rate of return on investment. So what they did is went to a private investor system because they're not locked into any system by the Financial Control Board like Springfield is. And so if we want to look at historical trends, we need to look at it all. It's not simple, it's not basic. And if you don't understand it, then you don't understand it, but it's not basic and it's not simple, or you wouldn't have said that. You would have said, okay, let's look at the historical data and see what happened in the past. And let me tell you what happened in the past when Tracy Whitfield worked for the city of Springfield, when we were just coming off the Financial Control Board. We took layoffs. Know who took layoffs? TJ might get terminated. That is true, but he won't be the only one, okay? So let's talk about the other folks that might get terminated. It's not going to be the department heads or the upper level management. It's going to be the lower level employees, well, maybe some of the upper based on their performance and things like that. But majority of the people that's getting laid off is paycheck to paycheck, lower income, maybe single moms, single dads, grandparents that's taking care of grandkids. That's the level of folks that's going to be laid off or taking furloughs. Because I remember the last time this happened, and we still had to meet our bond obligations. We still had to meet our pension obligations. Some upper management was getting raises when we were taking furloughs. I was there. So no one can tell me different. So when you guys consider how great this is, consider if we go into a recession, consider it. Consider if the market crashes like it just did not too long ago, and consider what's going to happen when we do approve this, and we still got time. We got to beat the June clock now. So let's really dig into this. It's our fiduciary responsibility. It's our fiduciary responsibility to do what's right for the residents of the city of Springfield. And so if you don't understand it and it is basic to you, then you probably should have more conversations about it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Govan.
Thank you very much. So I think I understand this a little bit better now. And my question is, what if we approve this $755 million to do the bonds, and because maybe the interest rates are too high, you don't purchase them? What happens to that approval? Does it get rescinded?
Yeah, we would rescind the bond authorization.
Okay, so I know Councilor Whitfield said that, so you're waiting for the June meeting and you're saying that there has to be a 21-day waiting period. I kind of like Councilor Hurst's idea of approving, maybe a less amount to do this, because I understand that it is a big risk. And Councilor Perez asked my question regarding what happens if we don't do anything, right? So we still have to pay the pension fund. That's going to be paid for anyways. No pensions are going to be not given to the retirees because we don't do this. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Those are my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Counselor Hurst.
Just really quickly, TJ, the reserves that we keep talking about. What has to happen for us to actually build up those reserves? How long do you think we need to build up those reserves? And what happens if the market crashes or there's a significant recession before we're able to build up the reserves necessary to cover a significant recession?
So the way we looked at doing it is if we sell the debt, we immediately take the money and put it into the retirement system and thereby do not need to appropriate the full $55 million into the retirement system. And you'll take that money and set that aside, excuse me, in the reserve account to hedge against a recession.
So we immediately get that money. Is that what you're saying? And how much is that estimated to go into those reserves? How quickly?
About 50. It'd be a $50 million-ish appropriation right out of the gate.
So 50 million into the reserves right out of the gate. Okay. And okay. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Counselor Hurst. Counselor Walsh, followed by Counselor Letterman. And counselors, I just want to remind you, we've had an extensive conversation, a robust agenda to go. So hopefully there's an end in sight. Counselor Walsh. Counselor Walsh, you're muted.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I was muted, but I wasn't present at any other discussion, so I might take a long time, but then again, I might not. But TJ, there seems to be some interest in what Councilor Hurst suggested of appropriating a lesser amount. Is that something that can be actually entertained, or does that mess up all those scenarios you did?
I mean, it would just, I guess I don't know the answer to amending it on the floor. I kind of wish I had my bond counsel on.
I just emailed them.
Haven't heard back. I don't know the answer or the functionality of how, if we lower the amount to an amendment, excuse me, what that would mean based upon everything else we're talking about. I don't have the answer for that.
Okay, and then I think someone else did mention that, you know, if it gets to the point, and we did discuss this in the finance meeting, if you weren't happy with the rate, then you might not go forward. And that does mean that the 755 would be returned to the.
So all this is authorizing us to continue to authorize us to sell it ultimately, but nothing. We cannot make this decision if we're not all on the same page with the city council, the mayor, financial advisors, bond counsel, and the underwriters. It will not work if we're not in lockstep on us doing this. And I have committed and will continue to commit to bring everything back to the city council to explain why we're making the decisions, whether we do it or don't. Right now, if you were to ask me, I'm not sure we'll be able to pull it off this time around. But it positions us to get ready that if the market corrects itself in a year or two, we might be ready to do it then. And so that's kind of why, and I don't like the rush any more than the council or anyone for that matter. The rush is that all of a sudden inflation skyrocketed, the war in Ukraine has happened and increased, gas and all these other costs. And in order to hedge against the inflation, they're raising the interest rates, which, and we thought they were going to be raising them in, quarter points, 25 basis points, but now they're doing it at 50 and 75 potentially in June, which has just ramped up the schedule. And I get it. I don't want to be here forcing a vote just and saying that we're up against time, but we are up against time if we want to consider it. And like I said, I will not make a decision without having everybody fully briefed on why we're making the decisions that we're making.
Okay, well, that brings up 2 points. One is there's a possibility that we authorize the amount you're asking for, but you might not end up using all of it.
Correct.
Okay.
So if the models look like we want to just do 300 million, like Mr. Burns said, then we would come back to the city council and say, we're only going to do 300 million and here are the 10 reasons why.
Okay, well, and I do think that a lot of this discussion makes sense for the ordinance that I am crafting about notice to the Springfield City Council on projects over $1 million. I do have a draft. I'm going to be sharing it with all my colleagues, and perhaps it will prevent the situation you find yourself in at a later date.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Councilor Letterman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few questions. TJ, what is the worst case scenario that you've modeled for if you actually make the decision to issue bond and invest it with the state system? What's the worst case scenario you've modeled, and how does that model interact with the reserve fund that you hope to establish?
So the worst case scenario we've looked at so far is a 25% drop in the market in year one, with a 0% recovery in years 2 and 3, then a sluggish recovery about 6% in years 4 through 15. And that's the worst case scenario, which, you know, coincidentally has us out $75 million, is what 10% of the amount that ideally would make it into the reserves over time. That would fund the loss, make up for any of those losses.
How does that scenario compare to the 2008 financial crisis?
That is worse. That is worse than the 2008 financial model that we just did.
And that scenario results in $75 million needing to be appropriated on top of a $60 million bond payment.
Correct.
Over how many years?
Well, that I didn't get that far in the model, so I'm not sure if it's got to be over, 5 years or over 2 years. We didn't get that far on that.
Oh, that's like total.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
over the life of the bond.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that I see it, for those watching at home or reading about this later, is that we're on the hook for the $755 million either way. And either way, the $755 million is going to be invested in the state pension system, who's going to manage it one way or another.
Correct.
If we choose to move forward at the current funding schedule, which, to be quite honest with you, has always concerned me because of the massive increase that is had year after year, which adds to the burden placed on the total amount of revenue that we raise. It pulls from that. There's risk as well, because if the market drops, we're already invested. What we are invested, the funded portion of the pension liability is already invested with the state system. And so I see a scenario where our contribution to the pension fund then continues to rise because the unfunded piece continues to rise. And that exists with no cushion. I mean, that exists coming from the existing general fund. So I think that the cushion provided by the reserve account, whether it's in the best circumstance or the worst circumstance, might position us better to avoid disruption, both to our personnel as well as our budget. And the other thing that I look at is, if this pans out in a more positive way, the fact that right now, every dollar that we have to put towards the pension obligation is a dollar that we can't spend on paving roads and improving services and reducing overall tax burden. So it seems to me like there's risk either way. This provides a potential opportunity to be able to get ahead of that. And relative to our current rise, I mean, I'm looking at the pension obligation currently. So, I mean, it says here, what's our estimated FY23 contribution for the unfunded liability? It says here 93 million.
Yeah, so that's all, that's the total between schools, us, water and sewer, and the housing authority.
And what's that if we bring it back just pulled from our general fund?
56.4 would be the appropriation for the city.
What is it the following year?
I don't have that.
I don't know, Pat, do you have that?
Oh, it's gonna grow by 9.2%, so I
Yeah.
believe it's approximately 63 million off the top of my head.
So it's only going to keep rising. I don't begrudge any of my colleagues their position or view on it. We all bring different expertise and perspectives to the council. I think that's what makes the council strong. But I think, in my analysis of it and in looking at the models and attending the meetings, I mean, we had a meeting on this in February. We had 2 meetings on it afterwards. Councilor Allen has been available. TJ has been available. I mean, I feel comfortable voting to authorize it to go forward based on those models and based on the understanding that, there are other checks and balances also built in at the state level to ensure that this is done responsibly. But, with that said, certainly open to continuing to hear from colleagues. I will also say on the ARPA funds, I mean, I remember when we discussed accepting the ARPA funds and, I specifically raised the issue of possibly sweeping them into a segregated account and releasing them slowly. And there just didn't seem to be the support at the time for it. So, certainly that's a conversation to have. But I specifically remember us having that conversation and there just not being the support either among the council and then on top of it, the legal questions. So that's where I'm at. Again, I certainly appreciate everybody's perspective, but for my constituents that are listening, I feel, this is what we get elected to do is have these tough conversations, try to get as much information as possible. And the one thing I will say is no matter anybody's vote tonight, we have an obligation to explain it to our constituents and to anybody that asks, and I'm certainly comfortable doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman, Councilor Whitfield, followed by Councilor Fenton.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say a couple things. This pension payment increases also. So year 2, I believe the pension bond fund also increases, right? The payment?
The bond, if we sell
The
debt?
bond, yes, the bond payment.
Yeah, so we haven't structured that yet, so we haven't figured out how we want to structure it, whether it's gonna be level debt or if it's gonna be some sort of incremental increase. So that's all stuff we will be looking at as a committee.
But I'm saying in the models, the second year, the payment increased, correct?
Not necessarily. That's why we're modeling it out.
Well, when we asked in the last meeting, in the finance subcommittee meeting, we were told that the payment increased to 63 million, just like the payment.
Because of the reserve.
It's gonna
Unless we're
increase
talking
because
about
the
something
first
else.
year's interest only, so.
Right. The first year's interest only, you're gonna take the difference, put it in the reserve account, which isn't enough to even cover the next payment. So you're gonna have to continuously put money into the reserves account to meet the payments, and the payments do increase. So just like the payment, it might not be 9.2% every year, but they do increase over year. So for my constituents that's listening at home, I don't want you to think that this is a level payment year over year over year, because it's not. We still are gonna have to have increased payments, and we're still gonna have to put money into the reserves account to meet whatever the payment is gonna be. Also, for me, it's not about just the pension. It's about the people. There are people that if we go into a recession, that are homeowners, that maybe business owners, maybe own 2 or 3 homes, that work for the city, that take care of their families, that if we go into a recession, will face layoffs. They will face it. They may face layoffs, they may face furloughs, but somehow the income that they receive is going to change. They won't be entitled to 2% increases, even if prices of goods and services go up, because we're in a recession. Now, for me, we have this pension obligation that we have to pay regardless. And so when I think about MGM money, because Councilor Letterman also had reserves about just authorizing the funds that come into the MGM account, he had those reserves. He had those reserves with ARPA funds, and I agreed with him. Not too many others did, but I agree with them. And so far with ARPA funds, we got the Build Back Springfield program, whatever it's called, that's not structured for the individuals that these funds were intended to help. The funds were intended to help the most disadvantaged communities in the cities of Springfield, yet millions of dollars are going to Big Y. They're going to hotels, they're going to everything else except the most disenfranchised population. So when we talk about trust, it's hard. It is very hard when we lie and we say that in order to get a certain amount of money to build a hotel we're required to get city funds, and it was a straight up lie. And I researched it and I showed the email, I had the proof, I sent it to the colleagues, and we still approved funds to millionaires, and we lied. So when Councilor Hurst says the trust issue is there. We said that we were going to have discussions about the MGM money, the pot of money, 9.4 million or something like that is in it right now, sitting there that can go to private ways or paving the streets or fixing sidewalks or a whole bunch of other things, reducing property tax. We still got 16 million of free cash that can go to the same services. Also, that money can reduce the pension liability. It can reduce the principal, which reduces the interest. Now, this is basic math. I mean, this is basic accounting 101, college level stuff. But none of that has happened. None of that has happened. We wouldn't even consider giving more of the free cash to property taxes. But now we get 41 million from Eversource, and we're going to put some of that to property taxes. Well, I want to see it. We also said we were putting some of that to pension obligation. What, is that out the door now? Because it was in the press release. I'm not making it up. Anybody, my constituents at home, if you want to see it, I can send it to you. It's trust, and it doesn't make sense. It's not responsible to me. This is my opinion. I'm just gonna throw it out there, not discrediting anything that the other counselors feel. But if it comes back, it will be brought up during election time. It will be brought up because all these things are being put on the table right now. For me, it's people over politics. That's one of my counselor slogan is people over politics. And right now, for me, this is not the most.
Counselor Whitfield, I'm sorry. That is my Counselor Whitfield.
I know. And I'm saying,
but
I
I'm not
agree
gonna
with
take
it.
any digs.
I agree with it. You don't have to take it. No way. I agree with it.
I would have
People
appreciate
over
you
politics.
staying
It's your
relevant to the
slogan, but it's
question.
not your words. You don't own them.
Counselor
But I agree
Whitfield,
with you.
please
I
be
agree with
respectful.
you.
Please be
I agree with
respectful.
you. And we should consider that. when we
Counselor
make a
Fenton,
decision.
I'm gonna move on to
Okay,
Counselor.
move on. I said what I had to say.
Counselor Fenton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say that for me, this issue comes down to what do we have access to invest and what type of risk tolerance profile does the city have for those investments? This offers the city an opportunity to get access to more funds so that they can be invested consistent with the city's risk tolerance. It is true that interest rates in this country have been climbing at historical rates. I just moved and got a mortgage 60 days ago. Those rates have almost doubled since that closing. And so it is a fact that the only best way for the city to get access to these funds is this opportunity provided to us through these pension obligation bonds. We don't otherwise have access to liquidity that would be able to be invested in this way. And the question is, what's our risk tolerance? Do we think that the percentage that we will have to pay back on these bonds is higher or lower than what we could get over time in the market? And our financial advisors are telling us that a few months ago, they were very confident that we could get back in the market over time more than we were paying as a percentage on these bonds. Unfortunately, as this conversation drags out, I'm hearing more and more from our consultants and advisors that that margin is getting to be razor thin. And my concern is that we may be losing an opportunity to avoid layoffs, to avoid financial harm to the city and our constituents and our workers in the event that there is a future recession. And so I see this as an opportunity for us to get access to additional capital so that it can be invested consistent with the city regulations and the PRIT standards, so that we can make investments consistent with the city's risk profile and hopefully return back a margin on these investments that's higher than the percentage that the bonds are going to cost us to pay back on that debt. And I think every minute that we delay in giving our professionals the ability to make those investment decisions for us, as they already do with our several $100 million pension fund and obligation, I think is a wasted opportunity given what we're seeing out of the public statements of the U.S. Treasury and given what we're seeing out of the movement of the interest rates, even in our own personal lives. So for that reason, I know it's a big number, and I know that people should be apprehensive about it, but I'm comfortable with this decision because I believe that our financial advisors are going to do what they are paid to do, which is to make sound financial judgment and to only advise us to purchase bonds if they believe we can return a higher interest yield over time from the market. So for that reason, and many of the reasons that were earlier outlined by Councilor Letterman, I would like to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fenton. Councilor Allen. Councilor Allen, you're muted.
All right, sorry, I was on mute. I wasn't muted. I'm sorry. Interesting to listen to everybody. Thank you for all your thoughts, etc. As you know, Councilor Fenton and I have been on the pension thing for 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. Lately, I've been a little bit more on it than him just because I was asked to be on the committee, etc. And it's been one of the things that I've cared the most about in my council time. It's a crisis that hasn't gone away. It's not going to get saved by pension obligation bonds. We're in the crisis now. We are not, if we do this, we're not taking on more debt. We already have the debt. We already have it. So if something went wrong tonight in the United States economy and interest rates tanked or whatever, we are affected by that right now in the situation we're in. It's not, would it be a little bit different? Yes, it would be a little bit different because we'd have more money in the investment fund that could be affected by a down market. But we're in it now. The threat of layoffs is there now. The threat of anything. We're always vulnerable to that. I think one perspective I have that probably I'm the only one who has this is because I'm on the team that meets every week on this, and it's Chris Caputo and it's Lindsay and it's Kira and it's TJ and it's Pat Burns and it's about 10 other people from around the country who meet every Wednesday and run scenario after scenario after scenario who are totally invested in doing this right. And we have actuaries, we have Hilltop Securities, we have Ramirez, we have Stifel. I would suggest that this is the most open the finance team has ever been with us on anything. This is, we're right in it. There's nothing, I'll be in that meeting Wednesday, and you guys are hearing right now some of what we'll hear in the meeting Wednesday. And the level of due diligence and rigor that's going through, it's probably been 10 weeks. So the way I look at it is, we have the risk now. I agree with some of what, Councilor Letterman said and Councilor Fenton. We have the risk, and we don't have a good solution right now because it's going to be, I remember when the annual payment was 30 million. This year it's 60 million, roughly. Next year it's 64, then it'll be 72. And we have to somehow figure out the best way to go forward. The way we're going forward right now is going to cripple our ability to fund other things in the budget. So we're only doing the most responsible thing we can do, which is look at other ways that we can possibly do this on behalf of all the pension people who receive the pension and the people who are the citizens of Springfield and count on us to make good financial decisions. So I look at it and say, we're only authorizing. We aren't buying. We're only authorizing. There's a several week series of steps. TJ referred to the 21 days. There's also a process where we have to get 2 of the rating agencies to come in and rate us. That's another one of the steps in this period before you decide to sell bonds. Another step is you have to present your plan of finance to the administration and finance team from the state. And there's a few other smaller things in there. So those things are all in that 5-week period or 6-week period before the June rate increase, proposed the potential June rate increase. It's not one of the things, we don't control the timing. The timing has been set by us. We don't control it. All those years you heard about the Fed meeting and lowering interest rates or raising them. Maybe they impacted you, maybe they didn't. This one impacts us. This one impacts us. As city councilors, fiscal oversight people, responsible financial people might want to make our beloved city as solid as it can be, as risk-free as possible. We got dealt a deck that is the worst financial situation in the pension in the state of Massachusetts. All we're doing is looking at ways to decide to go forward the way we are, or to look at another way that maybe would be better. I know that TJ and the team, they're just looking for an authorization up to 755. And while I understand Councilor Hurst's comment, like, could it be only 300 or something? And he gave an honest answer. He doesn't know how that would work, but it might only be 300 anyway. I mean, there's a number of people who are involved in this discussion. There's 15 of us right here. There's the mayor. I'm sure there might be other members of his team. There's the 10 people in the call on Wednesday. We got so many people looking at this to make sure we do the right thing. I'm proud of the finance team for the level of due diligence they've done with this. And you guys know what basically what I know. So I just look at it, that there's no great options. When you owe $900 million, there's no great options. We have to it's a 755 plus the money that's already in there. We're funded. We got a few $100 million in there already. There's no great option. We're not creating any new debt if we do this. In fact, we're not creating any new debt if we're just authorizing it if we get the votes tonight. So it's just this is a chance for us to come together. The finance team is laying it out there for us. I've been our rep to that, and if I haven't been communicative enough, I'm certainly available at any time to do that. But I really believe that we owe ourselves and our tax-paying public and our citizens and our constituents the best due diligence we can do. We've been looking at this since February 11th. That was our first meeting. And, that next week will be May 11th. It'll be 3 months. So, I'm going to vote for it. I think it gives us the options and the responsibility to come out to look at options, stay with what we're doing, or look at pension obligation bonds. And if they don't pan out, if the spread isn't there, or somebody just doesn't think it's the right time to do it, like TJ, then we won't do it. But it gives us options in a world where we've had none on the pension. The option is pay so much money on July 1st. And it's not perfect because our situation isn't perfect. But I think we're doing a really good job of trying to get to an answer that everybody understands. And you lay the problem out, it's for everybody to understand, and then get to an answer that everybody understands. So I commit to you that I will, I'll give if this continues on, I'll give a committee report on this, or whatever you want. We'll have a meeting on Wednesday. Be happy to share with you what goes on Wednesday. But when you keep an eye on the Fed meets tomorrow we might be able to incorporate that potentially. But it looks like in June that it's a stronger likelihood that we wouldn't be able to incorporate the June increase if there is one. And that's 5 or 6 weeks from tomorrow. So that's where I stand on it. I'm happy to talk to anybody offline about it as much as you want. Victor and I were on the phone a week ago Sunday till 11 p.m. And so I'm happy to spend the time. But I think we owe our city at least to continue to look at this and make the right decision for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Councilor Whitfield, followed by Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I just wanted to ask you, Tim or TJ, how many people of color are on the finance team that you have right now? How much diversity is on the finance team? Because I heard Chris Caputo, Pat Burns, TJ, Lindsay. How many people of color? Internally, externally? How many people of color? Percentage-wise, possibly.
Externally, there's these underwriter syndicates. There's a few people of color on it. I don't have the names. I can get those for you.
Yeah, please. I want to know what the diversity is because sometimes it's better to hear perspectives outside of maybe you know, the perspectives that you guys are used to hearing. So that was one of the questions. So if you could get me the diversity that's on the dream team that I keep hearing about, that would be great. In addition, since we're not in a huge rush, I would like to know why can't we do a scenario? I'm uncomfortable because of the amount, right? I think that you guys ran the scenarios. I believe that you entrust your investors, but it's going to be a risk either way. It's going to be a risk either way. We have this pension liability that we have to pay either way, but we can't say, here's the best scenario, this is what's going to happen, we're going to run for it, because there's always a flip side. Because when we hear like the proponents of it, we're only talking about one side. We're only talking about if the market does well. We ask questions about if the market doesn't do well, but when we talk in support of it, we only talk about if the market does well. And you're right, we have this pension obligation regardless, but what we don't have is a locked-in payment that is unchangeable. If we get into this, we do. In the current situation that we're in now, we don't. So we can change, although we have to meet the pension obligation, we may not have to pay as much as we would in this bond fund. We might not be obligated year over year over year over year, because you created a schedule of a 9.2% increase, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a 9.2% increase. But if we agree to this, we have to make the payments that's on the schedule. And so I'm concerned about that piece of it, that if the market doesn't do as wonderfully as was forecasted, because it's only a forecast, and we said it over and over again, and TJ said it over and over again, there's no promises, and the market does tank as it has historically, then where does that leave us? And then we're going to be right back here talking again about what we're going to do. What we're going to do. And guess what's not going to happen? Streets aren't going to get paved. Sidewalks aren't going to get repaired, because these things are going to happen for the rest of our lives, unless there's some type of great invention that makes street paving like not able to get ruined. This is going to always be there, right? But when we asked for this money to reduce property taxes, it was a strong no. It wasn't even no negotiation. It was nothing. It was nothing. You know how long Orlando Ramos asked for street paving money? And we're just getting $1 million into it this year. A long time since I've been on the council, he's asked for that. And so I keep hearing this talk about it's going to free up us some money to do this, to do that. So we have money to do these things now, and we got a strong no. So I'm scared with $755 million in such a risky situation. We're already at the high end of the interest rate. We're at the high end of it. It's going up. You guys keep saying it, but we're at the high. We should have done this months ago. And even though we had our first meeting in February, when did we have the next one? We only had about 3 meetings on this. We only had about 3. So it doesn't matter when it started, it's how much communication we received. So I'm just really, 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 really cautious. But if we can like do the scenarios at a lesser amount, can we please try to do that? Why do we have to do 755 if we can come back again? Like, we have time to visit those scenarios. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Govan.
I call the question, Mr. President.
There's a motion to.
Second the motion.
That's been seconded by Councilor Edwards and made initially by Councilor Govan. Requires 2/3 vote. At this time, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
No.
No, Councilor Curran.
Point of clarification, Mr. President, this motion is what?
To move to question, not on the actual item, but to move to question.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
No.
No, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Oh.
No, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Counselor Fenton, you're muted.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
No.
No, Counselor Williams.
Yes, Madam Clerk, what's the tally on that?
9-4.
9 in favor, 4 against.
All right, with that being said, then I will, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll for the actual item then?
On item number 14, Counselor Perez.
Could you clarify where we're voting on, please, specifically?
Madam Clerk, if you could just repeat the order.
Counselor Perez, we're voting on item number 14, which is the bond authorization, the pension obligation bonds in the amount of $755 million.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
No.
No, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Abstain.
Could you repeat that, Counselor Govan?
I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
Okay, abstain, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
No.
No, Counselor Williams.
Yes, Madam Clerk, can I please have a tally?
We have 1 abstention, 2 noes, and the remainder yes.
All right, so the order then passes. Madam Clerk, can you please call the next item before us?
Next item is item number 15, which is an order authorizing the expenditure of FY23 Chapter 90 funds in the amount of $3.6 million.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. Chris Signoli, DPW Director, 89 Bennington Street, Springfield. The state has authorized for fiscal year 23, $200 million statewide. That number has stayed the same for about 7-8 years or now. With that amount, the city of Springfield will be receiving 3.6 million, exactly 3.638824. And for this fiscal year 23, we will be using 2.8 million of that for paving. We will be doing $150,000 of crack sealing, 100,000 of traffic signal improvements, and $600,000 for design projects. Inside your packet, councilors, with this money going out to bid in the next few days is about $5.5 million worth of paving. 1.3 of it is from the previous order we discussed tonight on the winter road funds, $2.8 million in Chapter 90 funds, and about $1.3 million in private ways throughout the city. We've spread them out around the cities, basically in every neighborhood. So if councilors have any questions at this point, happy to take it.
All right, thank you, Chris. Councilor Letterman, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chris, thanks for being here. Welcome back. And I apologize, we weren't able to have a Maintenance and Development Committee meeting on this. We didn't get the agenda until Friday, and
Right.
we didn't have any advance notice that this would be on it. So there wasn't enough time to schedule. But since we're here now, I just had 2 questions. One was on Liberty Street, paving on Liberty Street.
Yes.
Which section of Liberty Street? Obviously, Liberty's quite long.
From Chicopee to Armory.
So what about from Chestnut to Genesee? Because that section's pretty rough as well.
That is most likely going to be on the list for next year.
All right. Can we still get at least some touch up over there, though?
Oh, yeah. We've
it
been doing some work over there, and I'll make that a note of that in the morning.
Okay, great. And then the other question I just had was on the private way list. So
Yes.
how did you, obviously there's so many private ways in need. How did you arrive at the particular private ways that were selected for this evening?
Basically, what we did is we picked the private ways, as we stated way back on the when the authorization for the bonding work was done, I believe last November. What we try to do is actually pick the private ways that require almost the least amount of work to get them accepted as a public way.
Okay.
Minimal, we always have to do paving, but include some minor drainage work, curbing, etc., to get us to a point where we can get them accepted under the state's data. So once it's under the state's data, we can get some additional money.
So sort of bang for
Then be
your
able to
buck
use
on
state
that.
money on this road anytime in the future on any need we have.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman, Councilor Davila, followed by Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chris, would you mind giving us a number again? It's 3.6 million, but you say that where's the money coming from?
It's Chapter 90 money. Every year, the state appropriates it as part of its budget. And they appropriate $200 million statewide. That number statewide has not changed, as I said, I think 6, 7, 8 years. And so when the number we get is always around 3.6 million. We use a major part of that for paving. Excuse me. So we're using 2.8 of that 3.6 for paving.
The remainder?
$100,000 for traffic signal equipment, purchasing traffic signal equipment and maintenance items. $150,000 for crack sealing that we do around the city every year, and $600,000 being set aside for design projects. When we are involved with design projects such as redesigning the X and projects like that, we have to hire consultants, and we are able to pay them out of our Chapter 90. So we set aside a chunk of money for that every year to be able to get those designs completed.
Yeah, you said crack paving. That's when they literally put I don't know how to explain it, but crack paving is when they they just cover a crack on the road.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
And
Basically
how much
putting
is
the
that
elastomeric material into it. Yes.
And how much was that amount for that crack paving?
100 for the crack sealing is 150,000.
155. 150.
Yep.
Gotcha. Now, would you be able to quantify for us how much we're going to be the mileage wise for $2.8 million? How many roads in miles that's going to be?
It is a total of 44 streets and 8.8 miles.
Is that more from last year, Chris?
Yeah, definitely, because our since we're putting in some additional funds in 5.5 proposed for this bid. Last year, I believe it was 3.2.
Okay, very well. Good, and that brings music to my ears, and I know I have to recognize there has been some good work being done into trying to get this ever-ending problem with paving in the city. I wish that we could do the same with our sidewalk, but that's a conversation for later. I just want to recognize that the roads on by Brookings, the new construction there is absolutely beautiful. And beautiful roads. I wish all the roads in the city will be like that. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chris, now, as far as the selection process, how was that made again?
Selection process, the city of Springfield is part of it in our engineering department. We do our own pavement management. We go out every year, rate 1/3 of the streets in the city. And so we have a running total of what we call the value of the street. So what we do is we pick the lowest value streets in the city every year. And usually we do about 60 or 70 of them. We forward that list usually in November, December, January to all of the utility companies, get their feedback. They may be working, water and sewer may be planning a major project in an area in 1 or 2 years. Columbia Gas, the same thing as well. So then we pair that down with that list, and we basically come up with the worst rated streets that we have in the city. And I'll always have arguments with residents about what really is the worst street in the city sometimes, but based upon the scoring system, we tend to pick the worst streets in the city to be able to get that work done. And in some cases, we're trying to get it hooked up with a previous project that might be done in the area. And for example, we just finished Bay and Berkshire. We'll probably get the rest of Bay Street on in the next few years as well, just to kind of complement that whole project.
And Chris, where, as far as the is there a way where you can actually hold some of the funding for maybe business owners or residents who call in to request for some of that stuff, some of those repairs? Because I have issues with, I have a lot of issues with that in my area. What happens is, like I told you before, where Talk of the Town is, it's like right now, if you go by there, it's a river. So it's a well-known Black restaurant in the city, and they just put a brand new reconstructed everything, but when it rains, it smells like a swamp. It's uneven, so the water settles right there and just spoils. Do you guys take things into consideration as far as like when you talk about the drainage? Are you guys going to fix some of that stuff also?
Well,
and I'd like that to be kind of addressed if you can.
One of the things that we did as far as the winter money that was provided to us by the state, we're getting about 1.48. We're getting 1.48 for that, and I'm using 1.3 of it on projects, other paving projects. So the other money that I've kept back is, our plan is basically in-house to be able to do things like that in that area, and where we're talking about, you know, bigger problem areas with drainage that, you know, we require, you know, a little bit more in depth than maybe sometimes our staff can deal with, but not really paving a whole street. So that's the sort of money that we've held back for that.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thank you, Mr. President.
And just to compound on that, if there are locations throughout the city, any of the counselors want to get those to me that, you know, seem to become bothersome, you know, please let me know.
Thank you, Councilor Brown and Chris, for that. Councilor Govan, followed by Councilor Walsh.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Chris. You know, this is one of the topics that's near and dear to my heart. I've been bugging you about it for a long time, and I really appreciate the work that that your department is doing. And I'm just hoping, you know, that some of the streets that we've talked about are on the list. I didn't look at the list, so I apologize in advance. But I'm hoping that, you know, the residents in Ward 8 will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Chris, I'm wondering if any of these funds, are they going to be used to address the problem that so many on this council are concerned about? And I know myself as Chair of Maintenance and Development, and Councilor Letterman as Chair on State Street in front of the library.
See, now you're taking Councilor Letterman's meeting for tomorrow. We on State Street, as we discussed, we did a study, and we have a plan to install a pedestrian crossing there. But what we're probably going to be doing in the next 2 weeks, Councilor, we just got a bid in from our contractor, is we're going to be doing a mock-up out there, installing barrels, barricades, cones, signage, and do a kind of a temporary setup just to see what the traffic issues are going to be, so we can respond to them as part of the final design for there. So within the next 2 weeks, we hope to have that in place out there.
Yeah, because
the funds for that have already been put in place.
Okay, as you know, there's been a lot of concern about that area for quite a while.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Are there any other questions at this?
No, I'm done. Thanks.
Are there any other questions from the council body at this time? Entertain a motion to approve the order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Allen, seconded by Councilor Edwards. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on the order?
On approving the order, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, at this time, I will entertain a motion to suspend Rule 19.
So
So
moved.
moved.
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Counselor Letterman, seconded by Counselor
Second.
Davila. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, counselors. Madam, the next item, please. Counselor Hurst.
Yes, Mr. President, did we suspend Rule 19 on item number 14? The bond
No,
authorization?
No, we did not.
Is it necessary to suspend Rule 19?
No, it's not required based on my interpretation, counselor, since this is the second reading of that item.
It's the second reading?
Yes, we've had a meeting on
Okay,
today.
okay.
Are you satisfied with that answer?
You're muted.
I'm gonna defer to you, Mr. President.
Yeah, I'm fine with that interpretation. If you'd like to challenge, you can feel free to if you like.
I'm gonna defer to you, Mr. President.
Is there any further discussion on the item? All right, with that being said, I think Madam Clerk, we're on the next one.
The next item is item 16, which is free cash to DPW Department Professional Services account in the amount of $700,000.
All right, is there anyone present to speak to this?
Hi, thank you, Mr. President. Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO, 80 Tamarack Drive in Springfield. So this order is requesting $700,000 of FY21 free cash to be transferred into the professional services account for the enterprise fund. And it is due to the closure of the incinerator that we've been using up until now. And I would defer to Mr. Signoli for any additional questions.
Yes, the $700,000, as Lindsay explained, it is also we were expecting to be able to offset some of the money for this fiscal year as part of CARES Act funds that the state rescinded after being able to use them for last year. So that was one of the issues. So when we built into the budget, we built in a lower number because we thought a number was going to be offset from the state.
All right. Councilor Letterman.
Sure. So I'm not sure I still understand exactly what you're actually going to use the 700,000 for.
Basically well, number one, to pay the trash bill, to pay disposal of our trash services. And basically that's for two reasons. Number one, there's going to be an increase that we're going to be seeing for this year, a little bit for the closing of the incinerator. But number two, it's also for what we thought in the budget numbers would be offset by the CARES Act, number one, and that's not happening. And then number two, our tipping fee for the year was slightly higher than what we had in the budget. So all those together are basically going to be allowing us to pay our trash bill for the remainder of the year. Our disposal costs for trash are about $4 million a year. So and between trash and recycling and all that stuff. So it was a big increase that we had to deal with this year.
How much of it is associated with the closure of the incinerator and the redesign there of what that new company is doing?
It's a very small part. It might be just probably 50,000, maybe a little bit more associated with that. Some of it's going to get, some of it will get offset, but we need it to, well, most of it will get offset, as a matter of fact. And however, we need to be able to pay the bill for this fiscal year for it.
What will offset it?
As part of our agreements that we have and not to get too far into detail on it, but a new company purchased the incinerator in Bondi's not in a bank foreclosure. It was in foreclosure, but they purchased it. So we have a new company, F&G, running the incinerator, and they did shut the facility down, and it's basically turning into a transfer station. The company that went bankrupt is Community Eco Power. It was purchased by Covanta. When there was a transfer of that between Covanta to Community Eco Power, the city, we did a very, very good job of putting in the agreement that if anything were to happen to any of the companies, the other one would need to support us at a minimum of $750,000 a year. For example, what we're having to do now, the vendor, because it's a transfer station, has to truck the material. So our tipping fee goes from $77 to $97. And we have to pay that bill for the remainder of the year. And then we will be doing the offset of it, what we pay, getting it in as revenue. So, it gets between the revenue and the revenue and expense side. And we're going to be ending up with the same thing in the budget next year. You'll see a bigger disposal cost, but you'll also see a match in the revenue side.
Okay, that makes sense. I see what you're saying. All right. Last thing I'll say, Mr. President, Lindsay, if you could get us a breakdown on each area that the 700,000 is going to, a memo on that. And also for informational purposes for colleagues, I have instructed the staff today to schedule a hearing of the Maintenance and Development Committee to review the change of ownership at the incinerator and what that means for Springfield relative also to air quality with the shutdown. So looking forward to getting that on the books this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Letterman, Councilor Brown, followed by Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just curious as far as I recall a long time ago, it was told to me that we were going to be able, and the residents of Springfield, that we were going to be able to do away with the trash fee. How much did we give up on that, or are we still trying to be creative even with things like this? Are we ever looking to maybe make that something plausible where we can eliminate the trash fee?
The trash fee for the revenue side brings in about $4 million a year. And when the trash fee was enacted, which was well before me, the intent was the trash fee would offset the disposal of trash, recycling, and yard waste. And really what it does now is that it offsets just the disposal of trash. So one of the, then becomes a financial decision. If we are not including $4 million or so of revenue, it's going to end up being $4 million taken, additional in that would just be in the budget, offset by the city for the department. So it becomes purely a 100% financial decision on, getting rid of a trash fee and getting rid of any other fees, reducing taxes and things like that. It becomes an issue straight for, being able to find that money from another pot.
Yeah, because I realize that we're getting, we keep getting funding and money. And when we're talking about certain things that were promised to the residents, that was something that was promised. And I would love for us to not forget about that and find ways to maybe eliminate that trash fee, because it was promised and I don't know what happened. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chris. Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I had the same question that Councilor Letterman had regarding the removal of the incinerator, and how is that going to affect the air quality of our residents? Is the new company going to be polluting our air? So I'm glad that Councilor Letterman is requesting that report, and hopefully we get it soon so we can report back to our residents. And the same thing as Councilor Brown, I'm wondering, I'm hearing, and I agree, Chris, that, everything is going up, prices are increasing. Our residents are getting the same thing. Our residents having, they have to pay more for food, they have to pay more for gas, They have to pay their trash fee. I paid my trash fee late today, so they added $30 to it. So I had to pay that. So, you know.
Thank you for the
when-
$30.
I'm gonna get it back somehow. No, but you know, again, when are the residents going to get some relief? You know, so that's something that I'm hoping that maybe on the finance committee, Councilor Whitfield, we can do something and talk about that. But certainly the question I had was regarding the incinerator not being used anymore. How is that going to affect our residents and the air quality in the city? Thank you so much.
And just to let you know, on the incinerator side, with the new company turning it into a transfer station, they are having to go through the DEP permitting process. So we are part of that process. So any and all of that data, as we get it in, any counselors who would like to get any of it, or if all of you would like it, I can just forward it to the office for you as we get that material from DEP.
Thank you. That would be great.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would love to host a finance committee meeting to discuss it. I don't know if you and Councilor Brown know, but I've asked for a trash fee reduction or to be waived, even if it's for 1 year. And I was told that the residents won't understand if the trash fee has to come back, but a relief is a relief, even if it's for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. So I'm more than happy to hold a finance subcommittee meeting to discuss it further. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that offer, Councilor Whitfield. Are there any other questions or comments on the item? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve this order as well.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Whitfield, seconded by Councilor Govan. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll on approving the order?
On approving the order, Councilor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Williams?
Yes, the order is approved. I will entertain a motion to suspend Rule 19.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Letterman, seconded by Councilor Whitfield. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Councilor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Williams?
Yes, thank you, councilors. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
Next item is item number 17, free cash to DPW salaries and wages account in the amount of $190,000.
You want to start, Lindsay, or me?
I was waiting for someone to ask. Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO. So this request is to move $190,000 from FY21 free cash over to the DPW General Fund salary and wages line. This transfer is going to be used to cover salary and wages associated with the city's union contract settlements, the recent union contract settlements. And also we did lose the grant funding of an employee, so that will be moved over to the general fund as well.
Thank you, Lindsay. Are there any other questions from councilors at this time? Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. Which employee was that?
I believe it was Luca Minio.
Luca Minio, employee in DPW's engineering department. He had been on, I believe, 6 years under the disaster recovery program. Was an employee before, went into that program, was paid as a grant. So now he's coming back out. And he was, for the remainder of this fiscal year, it's I don't know, 10, 11 months of his salary.
And disaster recovery is the tornado funds and.
Correct, all those
all that.
projects, basically the end of the Central Street project for us.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Are there any other questions or comments at this time? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilor Allen, seconded by Councilor Davila. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On approving the item, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Williams?
Yes, the order is approved. I will entertain a motion now to suspend Rule 19.
So
so
moved.
moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Councilor Davila, seconded by Councilor Whitfield. The roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Williams?
Yes. Madam Clerk, the next item, please, Councilors.
Next item is item 18, which is a budget transfer within a department in the amount of $85,000.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO. So this order is to move $85,000 from the law department's salary and wages line to professional services within their OTPS. And this is to cover costs associated with the increased use of outside counsel.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
so moved,
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Walsh, seconded by Councilor Davila. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On approving the item, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Williams?
Yes, the order is approved.
Mr. President, I do believe I wasn't recognized
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Davila.
for the
Madam Clerk,
vote.
Counselor Davila?
Yes.
thank you, Councilor Davila. At this time, I will entertain a motion to suspend Rule 19.
so moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Whitfield, seconded by Councilor Govan. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Williams?
Yes, thank you, councilors. The order is approved. I'm sorry, was that a suspension vote or I'm losing?
Suspension.
It's getting late, y'all.
That was suspension on
That was suspension. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you please call the next item?
The next item is item number 19, which is free cash to Comptroller Department State Assessment in the amount of $75,000.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO. This is to transfer $75,000 of FY21 free cash over to the comptroller's professional services budget. And this increase for $75,000 is directly related to revenue collection. And this increase is to fund an outside vendor who does revenue collection for us. The more revenue received, the more we have to pay them. So this increase is associated with that.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the order.
So moved.
I did have my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor.
Yeah.
Counselor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just wondering, Lindsay, this is for an outside vendor for any specific kind of revenue collection?
Yes. Medicaid revenue from the school department.
Oh, okay. And is it difficult to get those?
Well, we have.
Can't do it in-house?
No, yeah, they specialize in it, medical billing.
Yeah, that's hard.
Okay. All right, I'll take your word for it.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Counselor Letterman.
I'm sorry, who is the vendor?
It's UMass. Pat, do you know the total name of the vendor?
Yeah, it's UMass Medical School out of Worcester. It's an
Okay.
interdepartmental governmental agreement.
Madam Clerk, please mark me as recused on this item. I am employed by the vendor, not directly, but the UMass system.
So noted.
Thank you, Counselor Letterman. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing no further questions, I will entertain then a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second, Maria.
Motion made by Counselor Walsh, properly seconded by Counselor Perez. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
And approving the item, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman recused. Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Counselor Fenton.
Away. Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the order is approved. I will also entertain a motion to suspend Rule 19.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Govan, seconded by Counselor Walsh. The roll, please.
On suspending Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman. Recused, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton. Away, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes. Thank you, counselors. Madam Clerk, the next item.
Next item is item 20, which is a budget transfer within a department in the amount of $45,000.
Thank you. This transfer is for the fire department, and this is a transfer within the department, and it's to move $45,000 from a surplus in their salaries and wages line over to their gasoline and diesel line.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Govan, seconded by Counselor Whitfield. Madam, the roll, please.
On approving the item, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the order is approved. I'll entertain a motion to suspend Rule 19.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Allen, seconded by Counselor Whitfield. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
I'm suspending Rule 19. Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the next item, please, Madam Clerk.
Next item is a transfer from free cash to veterans in the amount of $25,000.
Anyone present, please state your name and address.
Sure. Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO. This transfer is for $25,000 of FY21 free cash over to the Veterans Salary and Wages line. And again, this is covering costs associated with a contract settlement.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Lindsay at this time? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion
Second.
by Counselor Perez, seconded by Counselor Walsh. Madam Clerk, with the roll.
On approving the item, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the order is approved and the motion to suspend Rule 19.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
Counselor Govan, seconded by Counselor Walsh. Madam Clerk.
On suspending Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Perez.
Counselor
Yes.
Perez. Yes. Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, counselors. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
The next item is a free cash to 311 in the amount of $12,000.
Thank you very much. Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO. This is to transfer $12,000 from FY21 free cash over to 311 salary and wages line, again, associated with the UPSU settlement.
Great. Any questions from the council? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Counselor Govan, seconded by Counselor Walsh. On approving the order, Madam Clerk.
On approving the order, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, and Madam Clerk, was that the suspension vote or still needed?
Nope, that was still the regular vote, item 22.
All right, counselors, thank you for being with me. I will entertain a motion now to actually suspend Rule 19 for this.
So moved.
So, second.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Allen, seconded by Counselor Whitfield. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item.
Item number 23 is a budget transfer within a department in the amount of $6,000.
Thank you all. This is my last one. This is a budget transfer for the building code department, and it's to move $6,000 of surplus from salary and wages over to their gasoline and diesel line.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the final order.
So move.
Moved. Second.
Motion made by Counselor Perez, seconded by Counselor Letterman. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On approving the order, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, counselors, and I will also entertain a motion then to approve, or I'm sorry, suspend Rule 19.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Counselor Letterman, seconded by Counselor Whitfield. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On suspension of Rule 19, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, counselors, for approving the orders. Thanks, Lindsay, for joining us. All right, the next item, please, Madam Clerk.
Item number 24 is for a special permit to operate an adult use marijuana establishment at 299 Page Boulevard.
All right, counselors, I did receive notice that the petitioner would like this item continued. I don't even believe they're on the call with us today. So with that being said, I will entertain a motion then to just continue this item as well.
Motion.
A motion made by Counselor Edwards, seconded by Counselor Govan, perhaps. Madam Clerk, on the roll, please.
On continuing the item, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Recuse.
Recuse, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Recuse.
Recuse, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the item has been continued. Thank you, counselors. The next item, please, Madam Clerk.
Next item is for a special permit to operate a medical office, clinic, or treatment facility with no overnight stay at the property known as 90 Corando Drive.
All right, Madam Clerk, if I'm not mistaken, I also received notice that this is to be continued as well.
You did, I do see that Sonetta is on the call, so I'm not sure if she'd like to clarify.
Counselor, okay, Sonetta, would you like to? Are you continuing this item?
Yes, definitely continue. I have to
All right.
meet with the neighborhood council. We have an appointment next week, and then we'll be ready.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. And I apologize that you had to wait that long to say that.
It's amazing. I
Counselor,
couldn't quit.
That's a great answer. It's amazing. That's a great answer.
Counselor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just wanted to say thank you, Sonetta, for staying with us tonight. Look forward to spending time with you at the East Springfield Neighborhood Council meeting. And that's an amazing answer. Thank you for watching government. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you.
Counselor Woodfield, before the motion.
No, she could leave. I know she's tired. I seen her yawning a long time ago. I was just asking Counselor Fenton to remind us when the East Springfield Neighborhood Council meeting is, so we can also join and learn more about the project.
Thank you. Looks to me, based on my calendar, that the next meeting is on the 17th, May 17th at 6:30. Seems like that's a Beat Management Committee meeting. So I don't know if Sonetta has specifically set up a date with the board. Sometimes they'll make accommodations in situations like this. So if a different date has been shared with Sonetta, then I'd invite her to share it. But according to my calendar, the next available meeting's on the 17th.
Sonetta, can you confirm?
Cannot confirm that. Actually, Kathy Brown is going to do a subcommittee meeting with me on Monday of next week. She's going to get with a couple of members there, and they're going to meet just to kind of help me out because I've been waiting to do this in September. So she wants to go ahead and get it moving and get it back on the agenda.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Sonetta, as well as Ms. Brown for joining us as well. Counselor Govan.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you, Sonetta, for being here and waiting for so long and for that amazing answer. I'm really looking forward to the site visit that hopefully will be scheduled soon. I know Kathy will explain that to you because I'm interested in seeing the facility and seeing the great work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Counselor Brown, and then I will entertain a motion to continue.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to tell you, I'm a big fan. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Brown. Clerk, I'm sorry, Counselors, I will entertain a motion then to continue this item.
Almost.
Motion by Counselor Allen, seconded by Counselor Govan. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
I'm continuing the item. Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the item has been continued. Thank you for joining again. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
The next item is item number 26 for a special permit for the construction of a townhouse development at the properties known as Southside Morris Street.
All right, Madam Clerk, did we receive any remaining testimony for those in favor of this item?
We did not.
All right, and how about in opposition?
No opposition as well.
All right, at this time, then I'm going to entertain questions from the council to the petitioner. For any remaining. Questions? Seeing none, is there any further deliberation on this item that the council would like to have? Also seeing none, the hearing is now closed. And with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the special permit.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Counselor Edwards, seconded by
Second,
Counselor Walsh. Counselor Letterman on the motion?
Yeah, Mr. President, this is item 26, right?
Yes, it is.
Were we able to, there was an amendment that they were seeking previously, or maybe it was already included in the conditions for the agreement to run with the land so that they could properly condoize the building? Is that in there?
I believe we had adopted that, but I'm not sure. Phil, can you speak to that?
Well, yeah, I believe you guys voted on it last time, but I'll just ensure that's on the, I'll send the conditions, revised conditions over to the city clerk in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
We did vote on it last week.
Thank you, Counselors and Counselor Letterman. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none. There was a motion made by Counselor Allen that was properly seconded by Counselor Walsh. Madam Clerk, on approving the special permit.
On approving the special permit, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Same.
Abstain, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the special permit is approved. Counselor Perez, on the reasons for approval, please.
Special permit, reasons for granted permit. The specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. The use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. Adequate and appropriate facility will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use. To incorporate the planning staff analysis into the decision at the basis of the findings.
All right, thank you, Counselor Perez. Madam Clerk, on accepting the reasons.
On accepting the reasons, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Same.
Abstain, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you, counselors. The next item, please, Madam Clerk.
The next item is for a special permit for a car wash at the properties known as 1090 Boston Road.
All right, Madam Clerk, was there any remaining testimony in favor of this?
There was not.
How about in opposition?
No, there was not.
All right, are there any remaining questions for the petitioner from the council at this time? Councilor Letterman?
Thanks, Mr. President. At our last meeting, we had discussed amending a condition. I know that would come after we close the hearing, but I just want to make sure the petitioner is okay with it, which was on a condition number 12, making the closing no later than 9 as opposed to no later than 10 to keep it more in line with other businesses on the street.
Counselors, I had to jump in here, but I believe I received an email from these guys that they were also meeting with the neighborhood.
Yes.
And wanted to continue these. Was that Counselor Govan? I think they were going to meet with you.
Oh, great.
Yes, that's correct. They are going to be doing a site visit. I put them in touch with the Pine Point Neighborhood Council. And since this is a Boston Road issue, I thought that maybe the Boston Road proposal neighborhood council might want to meet with them as well. I did invite Mr. Days.
Yeah, so I think they were requesting that this be continued as well.
That's correct.
I yield then. I apologize. We'll deal with this at the final hearing.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, thank you, Phil and councilors, for that. Councilor Brown, with that, it might make sense to save your comment for the next available hearing. Is that okay?
Yes, Mr. President, I want to thank Councilor Govan. That's exactly what I was asking. What did they have a chance to speak with her?
Perfect.
That's all.
All right, thank you, Councilor Brown. With that being said, then the hearing will remain open, and at this time, I will take a motion to continue the special permit.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Allen and properly seconded by Councilor Govan. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
On continuing the item, Counselor Perez,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Letterman,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Curran,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Walsh,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Brown,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Davila,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Hurst,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Allen,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Govan,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Fenton,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Whitfield,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the hearing has been continued. The next item, please.
The next item is for a special permit to reopen a pre-existing non-conforming use at the property known as 2612 Main Street.
All right, Madam Clerk, is there any remaining testimony in favor of this or in opposition of this special permit?
There is not.
All right, are there any remaining questions from the council for the petitioner at this time? Seeing none, is there any further deliberation? Councilor Brown.
What is this exactly?
This is for a special permit to reopen a pre-existing non-conforming use at the property known as 2612 Main Street. Item number 28.
No, I know what it is. Who's the petitioner? Are they on? I don't understand what they.
Yeah.
What are they asking to do? Go.
Is that, yeah, okay. Is the petitioner still currently on with us for this item?
Yes, President. Right here, Anthony Whitman, Whitman Properties, and Jacob Hanush is also. So basically, 2612 Main Street was a 12-unit apartment building, and I think the zoning sometime changed after it was built, and then its use was abandoned for more than 2 years. So to use it again as a 12-unit building requires a special permit.
Thank you, Mr. Whitman. Councilor Brown?
Yeah.
No problem.
Yes, Mr. President. I recall it with Mr.
I said no
Hanush.
problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Are there any other questions or comments at this time for the petitioner?
Still on this meeting.
All right. Seeing none, is there any further deliberation? Also, seeing none, the hearing is now closed. I will entertain a motion to approve this special permit.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Perez. Proper second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Govan. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll on approving the special permit?
On approving the special permit, Counselor Perez,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Letterman,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Curran,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Walsh,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Brown,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Davila, Counselor
I was
Davila,
muted. Yes.
yes, Counselor Hurst,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Allen,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Govan,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Fenton,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Whitfield,
Yes.
yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the special permit is approved. Madam Clerk, thank you for that. With that, I will ask Councilor Perez to read the reason for approval, please.
special permit, reason for granted permit. Number one, the specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. Number two, the use developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. Number three, adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use. Number four, to incorporate the planning staff analysis into the decision at the basis of the findings.
Right. Thank you, Councilor Perez. Madam Clerk, on the reasons, please.
Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item, please.
The next item is for an area generally bounded by State Street, Main Street, Willow Street, Stockbridge Street, and Park Street. It's a zone change from Business B to Business C.
All right, councilors, this is on for its first reading. Is there anyone present to speak to the zone change? Please state your name and address for the record.
Well, councilors, just quickly, this is just the referral vote to the planning board. The public hearing will be at the end of May.
So with that, Phil, can you just help me out with that? It's not an official vote for the actual zone change, so.
Correct. I'm not 100% how this works. I know it just has to be forwarded to the city council to refer it to the planning board. So I'm not exactly sure what the vote is, but this is not a vote on the actual zone change.
Okay, with that being said, then I will just then entertain a motion to, and Phil, you might want to help us frame the language here, and then we'll call for a second.
Yeah, I guess to me, I think it's just a motion to refer to the planning board.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to refer to the planning board.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Whitfield, properly seconded by Councilor Govan. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
I'm referring the zone change, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Williams.
Yes, the item has been referred. Madam Clerk, is there any further business before the council this evening?
There is not.
All right, 5 minutes before the 10 o'clock roll. Councilors, for your patience and hanging in there. There's a lot of important business tonight, so appreciate your endurance. Have a blessed night.
Thank
I
you
didn't
very much.
It's the 10 o'clock.
Night, everybody.
Good.